Hello students, we are moving on to the last section of this chapter, transistors. This is from chapter 10 of the reference text, Principles of Electronics by V.K. Mehta. So the topic is single stage transistor amplifier. We are going to discuss about its circuit elements and working. So what do you mean by a single stage transistor amplifier? Transistor amplifier we already see in the last section or introduction of this chapter. What is amplifier, what is the amplification process, etc. So what do you mean by stage? Here single stage means one transistor and its bias and auxiliary components. The circuit having only one transistor with associated circuitry is known as single stage transistor amplifier. But you can see that in practical amplifiers, a single stage amplifier will give only a small voltage gain. So to achieve large voltage amplification, we need to have more than one stages. That means practical amplifier is always a multi-stage amplifier. Number of stages of amplification is more. Here you can see three stages of transistor amplification. So hence you can see that this is a three-stage amplifier, three-stage transistor amplifier, or this is a multi-stage transistor amplifier. So in this multi-stage amplifier it has three stages. So now you can differentiate between single stage and multi-stage. Single stage means only one transistor with its bias and auxiliary components. Multi-stage means more than one stage. So next we are going to discuss about the circuit elements of practical circuit of a transistor amplifier. So this circuit is a single stage transistor amplifier circuit. Single stage transistor amplifier circuit with its circuit elements. Mainly there are four circuit elements for a single stage practical transistor amplifier. First one is the biasing circuit. So the resistances R1, R2 and RE forms the biasing circuit. So the biasing circuits are formed using the resistors R1, R2 and RE. So it is a first circuit element. Next one is the input capacitor Cin. This is the second circuit element. Third one is the emitter bypass capacitor Ce. And fourth one is the coupling capacitor Cc. Each circuit element has very key role in the transistor amplification process. So we are going to discuss in detail about each circuit element. So first one is the biasing circuit. So I already mentioned that the resistances R1, R2 and RE form the biasing circuit. So this actually form biasing and stabilization. Biasing and stabilization. So now you are familiar with the terms biasing and stabilization. So the biasing circuit must establish a proper operating point. What will happen if the operating point is not fixed, or if biasing is not proper, then the operating point will fluctuate, and as a result it will not result in faithful amplification. So for a faithful amplification, the biasing circuit should be proper, so that proper operating point is achieved. Otherwise, a part of the negative half cycle may be cut off in the output. That we already discussed. We know that during the positive half cycle, the input circuit is forward biased, but during the negative half cycle, if the biasing is not proper, we will not get the correct output in the correct signal in the output. So it is important that the biasing circuit should be proper. So here, which voltage, which biasing circuit is used? We are using voltage divider bias. You can see that in all practical circuits, since the biasing circuit is the voltage divider bias is the universal method, we can see that in all practical circuits, the voltage divider bias method is used. So here voltage divider bias method is used. So this R1, R2 and RE provides biasing and stabilization. Next one is the input capacitor Cin. So we are using an electrolytic capacitor Cin in the input. And what is its role? So you can see that in our lab session we will go into detail about each component. So we will give the difference between electrolytic capacitor and ceramic capacitors. So now you just go through it. This is an electrolytic capacitor. We are using 100 microfarad or 10 microfarad capacitors. Microfarad range capacitors are all electrolytic capacitors. So electrolytic capacitors is used to couple the signal, the input signal, to the base of the transistor. Here Cin is the input capacitor and it is coupled or it is fed to the base of the transistor through the input signal is coupled to the base using this input capacitor Cin. Now what will happen if we are not using this capacitor? If input capacitor is not used, then the signal source resistance will come across the R2, and what will happen? We know that the voltage across R2 is V2, and this V2 is setting the input circuit properly forward biased. So if V2 is changed, then it will affect the biasing of the circuit. So the capacitor Cin allows only AC signal to pass through it. So resistance will not come across. If Cin is not used, then if we are putting a signal, there is some signal source resistance due to the signal. So this resistance R will come in parallel with R2, and as a result the net resistance will change. So it will affect the voltage across R2, and it will affect the biasing of the circuit. So it is important that Cin is to be used in the circuit. Cin is used to couple the input signal to the base of the transistor. Input signal to the base of the transistor. So I think this point is clear. So we so far discussed two circuit elements. First one, biasing circuit. For biasing and stabilization, we are using voltage divider bias method. And second one is the input capacitor, where we are using this to avoid the resistance impact, the signal source resistance impact on the biasing. That means if you are not using this capacitor, the signal source resistance will come in parallel with the base resistor, and it will affect the voltage across R2, which will affect the biasing of the circuit. So we know that Cin, that means input capacitor, allows only AC signal to pass through it, and as a result AC signal to flow, so that it isolates the signal source from the base. It isolates the signal from R2. These are the two major functions of the capacitor Cin. Third one is the emitter bypass capacitor C. You can see that in our circuit, this CE is drawn in parallel or connected in parallel with the resistance Re. So what will happen? Since C is connected in parallel, you can see that up to this the total current is coming, capital IE plus small I. Now what will happen? If there are AC signal, the AC signal will always choose, you always remember that current will choose the low resistance path to flow. So when AC current is passing through, when AC current is reaching this junction, AC current will think which is the low resistance path. So it will see CE. So automatically the AC resistance, so AC current IE will flow through CE and the DC current will pass through RE. Now what will happen? Now as a result, no much drop will come across RE. We know that what is the importance of this resistance? Here you can see that in a common emitter amplifier, you can take output in two ways. First one across IC and second one across collector and ground. So this is the load resistor. So we get output across load. So if there are more voltage drop across RE, then what will happen? More voltage, if suppose we are not using CE, then there will be a large voltage drop across RE due to the flow of this amplified AC signal through it. So what will happen? It will reduce the output voltage, so it will reduce the gain of the amplifier. So we always choose, or we always connect an electrolytic capacitor or bypass capacitor across RE so that AC signal will pass out through this and no much voltage drop of amplified signal will come across RE. Next one is, so the role of emitter bypass capacitor is very important. So it will used in parallel with RE. C is always connected in parallel with RE and it will provide low reactance path. It will provide low reactance path to the amplified AC signal. That is the role of emitter bypass capacitor. So the emitter capacitor will provide low reactance path to the amplified AC signal. Next one is coupling capacitor CC. Now what is the importance of this coupling capacitor? Coupling capacitor CC is generally used in multi-stage amplification. That means it is used to connect one stage to the other stage. So in the case of multi-stage amplification, we are using a coupling capacitor. So what is the role of this coupling capacitor? If it is not used, the bias conditions of next stage will be drastically changed due to the shunting effect of RC. So let's see in detail. Here see that this is CC. Suppose this CC is connected to next stage. So what will happen? So here you can see a load resistance RL. So in the next stage, you can see that this is the CC and this is the load resistance RL. And this one is connected to next stage. So in the next stage, it is connected to the base. So this is the next stage. R1, R2, etc. So if CC is not used, what will happen? If CC is not used, it will affect. Here there is a output resistance RC in the circuit. So this is a circuit. So if CC is not used, this RC will come in parallel with R2. So RC will come in parallel. Why RC will come in parallel? That you will see in the equivalent circuits. In the next session, we are going to discuss about AC equivalent circuit. So in that circuit, I can show you that how RC is coming parallel to R2. So now just think that the load resistance RC will come in parallel with the input resistors of the next stage. So that means RC is coming in parallel with the resistors of next stage. So this effect is called loading effect. Loading effect. So what will happen if loading effect appears? So loading effect means RC will come in parallel with R1. RC will come in parallel with R1. RC will come in parallel with R1. So what will happen? If RC is parallel with R1, the total resistor will be RC R1 by RC plus R1. So it will effectively reduce the value of R1. You always remember that if there are two resistors in parallel, suppose the first resistor has 2 kilo ohm and second resistor has RC has 2 kilo ohm, same resistors, then what will be RC parallel R1? 2 by 2 plus 2 by 2, that is 4 by 4, that is equal to 1. That means if we are using same resistors, it will become half. That means in parallel, if two resistors are in parallel, then the effective resistor R will be always less than this individual ones. So R effective is always less than RC and R1. So it is very important. So if R effective means the effective resistance across R1, so it will reduce, so it will affect the biasing of the next stage. So the coupling capacitor, always the role of coupling capacitor is to couple one stage to the next stage. You can see this coupling in detail in the next chapter, in the multi-stage amplifier chapter, where we are going to discuss about different types of coupling. So here we are using RC coupling, that means resistor is coupled through a capacitor, but there are several other different types of coupling. So it will come in detail in the next chapter. So here we are only discussing about the coupling capacitor and its role. So the coupling capacitor couples one stage of amplification to the next stage, and if it is not used, the bias conditions of the next stage will be changed due to the shunting effect of RC. That means when we are not using the coupling capacitor CC, then RC will come in parallel with R1 of the biasing network of the next stage and alter its biasing conditions. So what will another role of CC is to isolate the DC of one stage from the next stage, but allows only AC signal to pass through. So this is the role of CC. So CC will couple one stage of the transistor amplifier to the next stage, and it also isolates the DC conditions of one stage from the next stage, but allows only AC signal to pass through it. So far we discussed the four circuit elements. First one is the biasing circuit. R1, R2 and RE forms the biasing and stabilization circuit, where we are using voltage divided bias method, and using this proper biasing we get stabilize the operating point Q and faithful amplification can be achieved. Next is the input capacitor. which is used to couple the input signal to the base of the transistor, and it allows only AC signal to flow so that it isolates the signal from the base resistor R2. Next is the emitter bypass capacitor CE. So CE is used to provide low reactance path to the amplified AC signal. As a result, the voltage drop will not get reduced and voltage gain will be maintained. Now coupling capacitor CC is used to couple one stage of the transistor amplifier to the next stage by isolating the DC conditions of one stage from the next stage, but allows only AC signal to pass through it. Next we are going to discuss about various circuit currents. So various circuit currents means in the figure you can see three types of currents. So here you can see three types of current. So first one is the base current, small I capital B. So we already familiar with these symbols. Small I capital B represents total base current, capital I capital B represents total AC current, and small I small b represents the DC base current. Similarly other cases. So we are going to discuss about the circuit currents. So first one is the base current. Total base current is represented as small I capital B, which is equal to capital IB plus small ib. Capital I capital B is the DC base current flowing due to biasing circuit when no signal is applied. So it is also known as zero signal base current, which is the DC base current. And small I small b is the AC base current flows when AC signal is applied. So this is the AC base current. Similarly, we can write other circuit currents. Second one is the collector current. Collector current small I capital C is equal to capital I capital C plus small ic. Capital IC is the zero signal collector current, or it is the DC collector current flows due to biasing circuit when no signal is applied. So we can find capital IC as beta capital IB. Small IC is the collector current due to signal alone. Now third one is the emitter current. So as in the above two cases, you can say that the total emitter current small I capital E is equal to capital IE plus small ie, where capital IE is the DC emitter current. So how we obtain IE? IE is equal to IB plus IC. It is the DC emitter current when no signal is applied. Similarly, small IE is equal to small IB plus small IC. So it is the emitter current. So since IB and small IB are very small, we can neglect the contributions of base current. So we can say that IE is approximately equal to IC. Similarly, small I is approximately equal to IC. So this is the circuit currents. Next we are going to discuss in detail about the role of emitter bypass capacitor. What is the role of emitter bypass capacitor in a common emitter single stage transistor amplifier circuit? So we discussed that resistor RE, we are connecting the bypass capacitor CE in parallel with RE. So why we are connecting it is in parallel with RE? CE will allow AC signal to pass through it. So if it is not used, so if we are not using this circuit, then what will happen? If we are not using the circuit, we can say that the amplified AC signal will flow through RE, and it will cause a voltage drop across it, thereby reducing the AC output voltage and hence the voltage gain of the amplifier. So if CE is not used, what will happen? Voltage drop across RE increases, and therefore output voltage decreases, therefore gain decreases. So it is important that we have to properly design the value of C so that it can filter out the AC signal. So let's go through an illustration. We have first find the value of C. If we want to filter out an AC signal of 50 Hz with a 100 ohm resistor. Parallel to RE. So actually this is 100 ohm resistor in parallel to RE means this is the reactance value of CE. You may study in the electrodynamics the relation between the capacitance and capacitive reactance. The resistance offered by the capacitor is denoted as capacitive reactance, which is denoted by Xc. So Xc is the capacitive reactance. So how we can find the capacitive reactance? Capacitive reactance is related to capacitance by the following equations: 1 by C omega. So from this we can find out the value of C. C is equal to 1 by omega into Xc. What is omega? Angular frequency omega is related to natural frequency as omega is equal to 2 pi f. Therefore C is equal to 1 by 2 pi f into Xc. So using the given values we can find out the value of capacitance. 2 pi into frequency is 50 and Xc is the value of capacitive reactance, which is given as 100. So by calculating this you will get 3.2 into 10 raised to minus 5 farad. So that is equal to 32 into 10 raised to minus 6 farad, that is equal to 32 microfarad. So this is the value of capacitor. So to filter out an AC signal of 50 Hz, why we are using the value 50 Hz? We know that for our household purposes we are getting the AC signal of 50 Hz frequency. So to filter out the AC signal of 50 Hz we have to use a capacitance of 32 microfarad. Now we are going to find out the current value through RE and CE. We know that up to this point total emitter current is the sum of DC current and AC current. So we are going to find out the contribution of DC and AC. So for that let us assume that the resistance across emitter is 1000 ohm and the reactance, capacitive reactance across the capacitor is 100 ohm. So we know that by Ohm's law current is inversely proportional to resistor if voltage across is a constant. So small I is proportional to 1 by Ra. Small I is proportional to 1 by Xce, because the AC signal is passing through the capacitance, so the capacitive reactance is Xce. Now we can take the ratio of this. Capital IE by small I is equal to 1 by Re divided by 1 by Xce. So that is equal to Xce by Re. So we can put the values 100 by 1000. So that is equal to 1 by 10. So we got the value of a ratio of IE by small I is equal to 1 by 10. So let this be equation 1. We know that total emitter current is the sum of DC current and AC current. So from equation 1 it is clear that small I is equal to 10 into capital I. So we can substitute here. So capital I plus 10 I. So the total current is 11 IE. So we can say that the DC current out of total emitter current is 1 by 11. So what this means? It means that the 1 by 11th of total current flows through 1 by 11th of total current flows through RE. Next we can find out the contribution of small IE. So for that, the total contribution, we can substitute the value of capital IE here. Here from equation 1 it can also be written as capital IE is equal to small IE by 10. So IE is equal to IE by 10 plus IE. So small I capital is equal to 11 IE by 10. So small IE by capital IE is equal to 10 by 11. So what this means? This means that 10 by 11th portion of total current flows through CE. So it is clear that the signal voltage developed across RE is only 1 by 11th of the voltage which would have been developed if CE were not present. If CE is not present, in practical circuit, the value of CE is so selected that it almost entirely bypasses the AC signal. So if AC signal is not used, we can say that there is large voltage drop across RE. So we have to use RE, the emitter bypass capacitor, to entirely bypass the AC signal. And in the case of practical circuits, we can say that this value of C is very small so that we can assume it as shorted. So when AC signal just enter this, it will bypass entirely through the circuit. So this is the case of a practical circuit. So now it is clear that the role of emitter bypass capacitor in a single stage transistor amplifier is very large. So I think you are clear about the role of emitter bypass capacitor. Next we can do another problem. Select a suitable value for the emitter bypass capacitor from the given figure if the amplifier is to operate over a particular frequency range from 2 to 10 kilohertz. So here the frequency range is given because we know that a transistor amplifier is always operating over a frequency range because it is we are applying a signal to the input, so the signal has a frequency range. So the frequency range of the signal is 2 to 10 kilohertz. So usually an amplifier handles more than one frequency. So we have to select the emitter bypass capacitor CE in such a way that it provides biasing for the lowest of all the frequencies. Why we are taking the lowest value? Because we know that the value of XC is equal to 1 by C omega, that is equal to 1 by C into 2 pi f. That means XC is proportional to 1 by f. So when frequency increases, XC decreases. What do we mean by that? In the high frequency range, the resistance across the capacitor is very small so that it acts as a short. But in the case of low frequencies, XC will increase. So the resistance offered by the capacitor will increase and it will not provide a suitable path to the current, AC current. So we have to set the value of low frequencies. Set the value of CE for low frequencies. So suppose let us consider F minimum as the minimum frequency to be handled by the C. Minimum frequency handled by C. is considered as a good bypass at F minimum if we are designing in such a way that the capacitive reactance Xc is Re by 10. So this is our condition. So our condition is that we have to design the capacitive reactance Xc as 1 by 10th of the emitter resistor Re, so that we can consider Ce as a good bypass at F minimum. So I already said that at low frequency Xc increases, but we can handle the minimum frequency range also by properly choosing Ce. So for properly choosing Ce, we are setting the condition that the capacitive reactance Xc should be 1 by 10th of the resistor value. So we have given the F minimum value of frequency is 2 kilohertz. So we can say that the Re is also given. Re is equal to 560. Re is the 560 ohm. So we can use the equation Xc is equal to 1 by 2 pi f Ce. So here F is F minimum. So Xc value is given. Capacitive reactance is Re by 10. So Re is 1 by 2 pi into F minimum is 2 kilohertz. So 2 into 10 raised to 3 into Ce is equal to Re by 10. Re is 560 divided by 10. So from that we get Ce is equal to 1.42 microfarad. So if you are putting the value of Ce as 1.42 microfarad, it will properly bypass the entire range of frequency. So that means we have the freedom to properly design the circuit in such a way that it will act as a good single stage amplifier in practical case. So that's all about the single stage transistor amplification. Next we are moving to another property of single stage transistor amplifier, which is the phase reversal. So you are familiar with three types of transistor configurations: common base, common emitter and common collector. So out of these three configurations we are using common emitter configuration in 90 to 95% transistor applications because of its three properties, that means high current gain, high voltage and power gain, and moderate input to output or moderate frequency matching or moderate impedance matching. So we can choose common emitter amplifier in all our practical applications. So in a common emitter amplifier, there is a particular frequency or particular feature of this common emitter amplifier is that it shows 180-degree phase difference between signal voltage and output voltage, and this property is known as phase reversal. So you can here say that we learned that we can take the output of a transistor amplifier in two ways in a common emitter amplifier. We can choose the resistor, the output across RC, that is IC/RC, or we can take output across collector and ground. So when we are taking the voltage, the output across RC, we will get the same phase. But here we are not considering that. We can take that, but we can also say that the input signal is 180-degree out of phase with the output. Now, why we are choosing this output, or why we are mentioning about this output? This is okay for a single stage amplifier, but for a multi-stage amplifier, we are connecting this output, this end, to the input of the next stage. So actually we are taking the output from this point, and this output is giving to the next stage. So for practical purposes, we are not mentioning or we are not using this case. We are always using the output from, we are always taking the output across collector and ground. With respect to collector and ground, we are taking the output. So here you can see that the signal is increasing in the positive sense, but in the output the signal is increasing in the negative sense. That means there is a 180-degree phase difference here, but you can see that the signal is amplified. The amplified output is obtained across the output, but the output is, the phase of input and output is 180 degree. Phase difference is 180 degree. Now we have to prove the phase reversal, or we have to prove mathematically the phase reversal. So before that, why the phase reversals are occurring in this common emitter amplifier? So for that, we are considering a total instantaneous output voltage, which is denoted as VCE is equal to, so from this equation, let's assume that this C is shorted. So we know that this all signals will pass through it. We can neglect RE value is very small, so we can neglect the value of RE. So let's assume that the reactance of CC is negligibly small at ordinary signal frequencies, and it is appeared as short. So the only voltage drop is across ICRC. So the total output voltage, we know that we are applying Kirchhoff's voltage law here. So VCC is equal to ICRC plus the output voltage, VCE. We have denoted it as VCE because we are shorting the value of CE. ഇവിടെ നമുക്ക് കപ്പാസിറ്ററിന്റെ വാല്യൂ, ഓർഡിനറി സിഗ്നൽ ഫ്രീക്വൻസീസിലെ കപ്പാസിറ്ററിന്റെ വാല്യൂ ഓൾമോസ്റ്റ് ഷോർട്ട് സർക്യൂട്ട് പോലെയാണ്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഷോർട്ടായിട്ടാണ് നമ്മൾ ആ കൺസിഡർ ചെയ്യുന്നത്. റിയാക്റ്റൻസ് വളരെ കുറവായിരിക്കും. റിയാക്റ്റൻസ് വളരെ കുറവാന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ എന്താർത്ഥം? ഇതിലൂടെ ഈസി ആയിട്ട് AC സിഗ്നലിനെ ബൈപ്പാസ് ചെയ്ത് പോകാനായിട്ട് പറ്റും. അപ്പോൾ ആക്ച്വലി ഈ സർക്യൂട്ട് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് ഔട്ട്പുട്ടിൽ RC ഉണ്ട്, പിന്നെ ഉള്ളത് ഷോർട്ടാണ്. സോ ഇതിൻ്റെ അക്രോസ് ആണ് നമ്മൾ ഔട്ട്പുട്ട് എടുക്കുന്നത്. കളക്ടറിൻ്റെയും ഗ്രൗണ്ടിൻ്റെയും അക്രോസ്, കളക്ടറിൻ്റെയും ഗ്രൗണ്ടിൻ്റെയും അക്രോസ് ആണ് നമ്മൾ ഔട്ട്പുട്ട് എടുക്കുന്നത്. സോ ദിസ് ഈസ് RC. സോ ദിസ് ഈസ് ദ കറണ്ട് ഫ്ലോയിങ് ത്രൂ ഇറ്റ്. ദിസ് ഈസ് പ്ലസ് VCC. So Kirchhoff's voltage law apply में നമുക്ക് എന്തുണ്ട്? VCC is equal to ICRC plus output voltage. So the total instantaneous output voltage is VCE. So it is denoted as VCE. So VCE is equal to VCC minus ICRC. So this is the, here you can say that this is the total collector current, which is small I capital C. Small I capital C. Small I capital C RC. So the total instantaneous output voltage VCE is equal to VCC minus ICRC. So here we neglected the voltage drop across RE because C is short for the signal. So what will happen? So from equation 1, let this be equation 1. So in equation 1, VCC is a constant. VCC is a constant. So when signal voltage increases, when input signal voltage increases, the base current increases. When input signal voltage increases, base current increases, and it will increase the collector current. Then what will happen? When collector current increases, the voltage drop ICRC increases. But VCC is a constant. So what will happen? When ICRC increases, according to equation 1, VCE decreases. When ICRC increases, the LHS is decreasing because VCC is a constant term. Suppose VCC is 12 volt, ICRC is increasing. Suppose VCC is 12 volt. So when ICRC is 1 volt, the difference is 11. When ICRC increases, it is 2 volt, it is decreasing. That means when ICRC increases, VCE decreases. That is, as the signal voltage is increasing in the positive half cycle, the output voltage is increasing in the negative sense. That means output is 180 out of phase with the input. So we can easily prove that from equation 1, taking the derivative in both sides. So the equation 1 is VC is equal to VCC minus ICRC. So taking the derivative dVC is equal to, we know that VCC is a constant. So the constant differentiation is 0 minus derivative of ICRC. So you can see that the change in output voltage is the negative to the change in voltage drop. So that means the negative sign shows that output is 180 out of phase with input. Phase with input. So next we can graphically demonstrate this result. We can graphically see the phase reversal of common emitter amplifier. So we can show this by using the output characteristic curve and load line. So here you can see that this is the minimum value of collector current and this IC max is the maximum value of collector current. Similarly, IB minimum is the minimum value of base current and IB maximum is the maximum value of base current. Here we are plotting the output characteristics by plotting the voltage, output voltage in the x-axis and output current in the y-axis. So here you can see that the total base current IB is fluctuates between plus or minus 5 microampere. So the difference between this is 5 microampere. So IB is fluctuating plus or minus 5 microampere. So its average value is 10 microampere. 5, 10, 15. So the average is 10 microampere. So let's take this as the zero signal base current IB. So if this is zero signal current, this is the Q point. And you can see that when base current is maximum in the positive direction, so this is the maximum value of base current. So corresponding to IB max, we have IC max. But corresponding to IC max and IB max, you can see VCE minimum. So what does this mean? When base current is maximum in the positive direction, VCE becomes maximum in the negative direction. That means the point G denotes the minimum value of VCE. VCE value is minimum here and VCE value is maximum here. So when base current is maximum, collector current is maximum, but the output voltage becomes minimum. That means it is maximum in the negative direction. Similarly, when base current is minimum or base current is maximum in the negative direction, then the IC is minimum, but corresponding to that VC is maximum. So it is easily, we can show that the output is 180 out of phase with the input. That means there is a phase reversal occurring in a common emitter transistor amplifier. But you can see that there is no phase reversal in the case of common base and common collector configuration. So in all three types of configuration, you have to carefully think that the currents are not in currents have no phase reversal. That means input and output currents are in phase. But in the case of voltages, common emitter circuit is the only configuration that has input and output voltages 180 out of phase. But for both common base and common collector, both the input and output voltages are in phase. That means phase difference is 0 degree. So that is another important point. So the phase reversal is shown only by common emitter transistor amplifier in the case of voltages. In the case of current, all the three types of configurations are showing no phase change. So we proved the phase reversal, or we demonstrated the phase reversal of common emitter amplifier. So next we are going to consolidate today's class. So today we discussed about single stage transistor amplifier. So in a single stage transistor amplifier we are using only one amplifier stage with its bias and auxiliary components. So the main circuit elements are the biasing circuit R1, R2 and RE, and next is the input capacitor Cin, then the bypass capacitor Ce, and the coupling capacitor Cc. Now we studied in detail about the emitter bypass capacitor. So if emitter bypass, so each has its own role. So R1, R2 and RE, in which R1 and R2 form the biasing circuit and RE provides stabilization. If it is not used, we will not achieve faithful amplification. Input capacitor Cin is used to couple the input stage to the base of the transistor and also to isolate the DC conditions of the input signal source, isolates the signal source resistance with the base resistor. So for the two purposes we are using Cin. First one to couple the input stage to the base, and second one to isolate the DC signal source current with the base DC signal source resistance with the base resistor. Now third one is the emitter bypass capacitor, which is used to provide least resistance or low reactance path to the AC signal to bypass through it, so that it will not reduce the voltage gain of the amplifier. Fourth one is the coupling capacitor, which is used to couple the one stage of the transistor amplifier to the next stage, and it is also used to isolate the DC conditions of output to the input of the next stage. Next we are going to discuss about the role of emitter bypass capacitor and the need for properly designing the coupling, the emitter bypass capacitor. So we can design the capacitor value by using the reactance value Xc is equal to 1 by C omega. So by properly knowing the range of frequencies, we can set the value of Ce by assuming that it is 1 by 10 the value of Re. Next we saw the phase reversal conditions. So what do we mean by phase reversal? Phase reversal means the phase difference of 180 degree between input and output voltages in a common emitter transistor amplifier is known as phase reversal, and we successfully demonstrated it using graphical way. And from the mathematical condition, it is clear that dVc is equal to minus GIC RC. That means the input is 180 degree out of phase with the output. So we also proved phase reversal, and finally we see that there is no phase reversal between input and output currents in all three configurations, and also there is no phase reversal between input and output voltages in common base and common collector configuration. The phase difference between input and output voltages is 0 degree in common base, and the phase difference between input and output voltages is 180 degree in common emitter configurations. So this is all about today's class.